Hi guys, it's Katie. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing some freezer cooking. My freezer is getting very full, but I wanted to make these last few things some favorites, so I want to make sure that I get them done. I'm going to be making meatballs, cabbage rolls. I think I might make like one batch of stuffed pepper soup just because I've never frozen it before and I'm not exactly sure how it'll turn out. I don't want to make a big batch and have it turn out bad. And then my husband is going to smoke some pork butts for me just so that I don't have to be like outside and inside tomorrow. So for prep tonight, I'm going to make some like pasta sauce. That way I can pack it up for the meatballs and I can also use it. I use it for my cabbage rolls. So I'm going to be making the pasta sauce in the crock pot overnight. I have a big can of crushed tomatoes. I just add some veggies like carrots and celery and onions and garlic and like oregano and basil and thyme and things like that. I also add anchovies, but anyway, that's going to cook overnight, so I'm going to get that made up so it can cook overnight. So over here I have some veggies I want to get done. A lot of this, like the celery, the carrots, and some of the onions are going to be for the pasta sauce. I'm going to chop up the bell peppers for the stuffed pepper soup, and then I have to cook the cabbage leaves. Hopefully get those cooked and separated and everything like that, and get that vein cut out of them so that I could roll up cabbage rolls really easily tomorrow. So I think that's all. I also need to soak some rice because I will use rice in the cabbage roll filling, and then I'm probably going to cook rice and I'm going to pack it up separately for the soup so that it'll be cooked. It just needs to be mixed in, but I don't think I want to freeze it with the rice in there. I've never done that before, so that will be an experiment. But anyway, that's what I'm working on tonight. I'll give you a shot before I go to bed, show you everything that I've gotten done for prep, and then we'll start tomorrow. Alright, so here's what I got done for my prep work. I have my pasta sauce cooking in the crock pot. In here I have all of the cabbage leaves separated and ready to go. And this is the leftover cabbage from like the center of the head. So it's cooked cabbage. I just chopped it up and I like tuck it around the cabbage rolls. And then in here I have onions and bell peppers for my recipes tomorrow. I have my rice soaking. I'll cook that tomorrow, and then have my wood chips. They don't need to soak very long, but this way I don't forget, and I can pour some water on these and soak them in the morning for like 45 minutes to an hour before we start smoking. But that's what I got ready for tonight, and then we'll start cooking tomorrow afternoon. Smoker going. My husband's taking care of all of this for me, so I don't even have to worry about it. But we got two big pork butts in there, smoking with hickory smoke. Inside we have the pasta sauce. Has been cooking for a good while. I have the lid kind of off. I'm hoping it can cook down a little bit, but it's looking pretty good for now. And then over here I just put some the brown rice on to cook, so it is cooking, and I guess I'm going to get started mixing up the meatballs and everything else with the meat. Alright, I'm going to start with meatballs. I'm doing a triple batch, so there's 3 pounds of ground beef, And then I will just tell you the amounts for 1 pound, like 1 batch. Oops. And then you can make it as big as you want. So, pound of meat, half a cup of ground oatmeal or breadcrumbs. I like oatmeal better than breadcrumbs. I think it makes more tender meatballs. And then 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. 1, 2, 3. Then 1 egg. Some salt, some garlic powder, parsley flakes, basil, and oregano. I have fresh oregano, so I'm just going to put a bunch of fresh leaves in. Okay. And then about a half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes and fennel seeds. So we're going to put some ground pepper. Once I have all that in, I just mix it with my hands so it's well combined. Okay, so once it's all mixed, I'm going to bake these. A lot of times I will put them raw right into the simmering sauce if I'm making a smaller batch, but there's no room in my crock pot for them anyway, so I'm just going to bake them. I use a cookie scoop to scoop out my meatballs, and I used to drag it up the side, like scoop it like this and level it off by scooping it up the side of the bowl, but I was finding that it was scratching my bowls, my stainless steel bowls and my glass bowls. So what I do now is I just scoop it against a spoon, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So I just scoop it, and I use the scoop, and then after I get them all scooped out, then I go back and I roll them. This is pretty lean meat, so they're not going to shrink a lot. If you use a fattier meat, they may shrink a lot, so just keep that in mind when you're determining how big you want to make your meatballs. Okay, so now that I have them all scooped out, I just give them a quick roll. Alright, they're all rolled out, and I'm going to go ahead and pop them in a 350-degree oven. Take about 30-35 minutes. It just depends on how big you made your meatballs. So if they're bigger, a little bit longer, and if they're smaller, a little bit less. But okay. Next, I'm going to make the filling for the cabbage rolls. Again, this is going to be a triple batch, so I have my ground beef. I also have a little ground beef heart, and I'm going to do salt and pepper. And some onion, about 1 onion per pound of meat. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of tomato paste per pound of meat, or per batch. 1 egg per batch. And about a teaspoon of parsley, dried parsley per batch. I'm also going to add my rice, but I'm going to mix this up first because my rice is still really hot. Alright, so I pull my meatballs out of the oven, and I feel like my rice is probably cool enough. You want about a cup to a cup and a half per batch. per pound of meat. Just depends on how much rice you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and mix this in. I'm using brown rice, but you use any kind of rice you want. And this filling I'm using for cabbage rolls. You can use this for stuffed peppers, and you can also just roll them into little mini meatballs. My family calls them porcupines because they look like, the rice looks like a bunch of little quills. But alright, so I have my cabbage leaves. I have my casserole dish here. I just put a little bit of that sauce from the crock pot in there. And I'm going to start rolling these up. This was a really big cabbage, so these outer leaves actually, I think I'm going to make into 2. And all you gotta do is take a small amount. Depends on how big your leaves are, and also it depends on if you want to have a whole bunch of little ones per serving, or if you want like 1 or 2 big ones. But you put about that much, and then just put it in the bottom, roll it, tuck in the sides, roll it up, and put it in your casserole. So for this size, I'll probably serve like 3 or 4 for the adults, and should be enough. So I'll just get these all rolled up. I'll probably need to use this second casserole dish. And these, you can just put them in the freezer just like this. I'm going to go ahead and bake mine just so they'll need to be just rewarmed. Okay, so my cabbage rolls are done. I put some sauce on top. I'm going to cover these with foil and put them in the oven. I have quite a bit of filling left, but I ran out of cabbage leaves, so I only have 2 casseroles anyway. I'm going to bake these. I'm going to run to the store and get another cabbage and make more cabbage leaves, and then by the time I have more cabbage leaves, then one of my casseroles will be free. So I'll bake these probably 45-50 minutes. Over here my meatballs are cooling, and I'm just packing these up. Before I was vacuum sealing them in food saver bags, but I think I'm going to do this. There's 20 meatballs in here, which is plenty for us to have a good meal and then lunch the next day. And then what I think I'm going to do is top this off with sauce. That will keep the surface area low and keep the meatballs from drying out in the freezer. It won't be enough sauce if we have like pasta, but it will be enough sauce if we use these for meatball sandwiches. So I can have like just grab another quart of pasta sauce or a jar of pasta sauce from the pantry if I need to use these for like spaghetti and meatballs. So here I got the meatballs in the quart containers. They're a little bit higher than the fill line, so hopefully they don't explode. But I'm gonna get lids on these and then get those in the fridge, and then we'll put them in the freezer after they cool down all the way. Alright, so our second batch of cabbage rolls is in the oven. I have some baked potatoes. Those are just for our dinner tonight. I was actually able to get more cabbage rolls than I thought. So actually this big tray here, that's going to be dinner sometime this week. And then this will finish off the 3 packs for the freezer. And then the last thing I'm going to do is make some stuffed pepper soup. So I got my big stock pot, and I'm going to get this started next. I'm going to start by getting some onions fried in some fat. Salt and pepper. Alright, next I add the ground beef, and I'm just going to break it up and fry them together. Alright, next I'll add the green peppers, and I guess the rest of the onions. Make some canned diced tomatoes, and some chicken stock. So we're going to add some tomato paste. And to season this, I'm going to add some garlic powder and some parsley flakes. Alright, so I just let the soup simmer for about 15 minutes. I don't want to cook the peppers too much because they'll be cooked more when it's warmed up. So this is what it looks like right now. The only thing that's missing is the rice. I'm not going to add the rice before I freeze it. I'm afraid it's going to soak up all the liquid and turn into a gluey, gummy mess. So what I'll do is when I go to warm it up, I'll just stir in some cooked rice. So this I'm just going to let cool, and then I will pack it up in containers as well. Alright guys, so here's what I got done so far. I have 3 big containers of cabbage rolls plus a whole extra tray. I didn't have enough containers though, so this tray I'll just put in the fridge. Tomorrow I will warm it up in the oven and it will be your dinner. So our dinner's already done for tomorrow. But for the freezer I got 3 packs of cabbage rolls. I got 3 dinner portions of the stuffed pepper soup. Just need to add the rice to that, cooked rice, stir it in and warm it up. That will be done. Here I got 3 quarts plus a pint of meatballs and sauce, and then out of that whole crock pot of sauce, there's only one, not even a full quart, 1 quart of pasta sauce that will go in the freezer. I also have the pulled pork still out on the smoker, so when it's done, we'll bring it in and break it down and pack it up as well. Here's the last of this freezer cooking session. I have 8 1-pound packs of vacuum sealed smoked pulled pork. These are going to be awesome. So anyway, that's everything I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love for you to give my video a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Okay, so the soup has been simmering for about 15-20